Hello, hello. Yeah, we'll get started in just a minute. We're almost there. It's a big production to put on a community meeting. Meeting minutes are in the chat if they weren't there already. They could have been. I just didn't know. Oh, there they are. They're there. And I think we're probably about up. Shreedi, I know you're tying off a couple of things, but whenever you're ready, we're probably all set.
Are we ready? Let's begin. Sure. Hopefully my screen is visible.
Yep, good to go.
Good.
So
Am I audible?
you are.
Yeah, you're audible, but a little bit low.
Well, I should get my cheering pom-poms.
No worries. I'm pretty sure it's something from my side. I'll check it out.
All right. Lee, will you start us off? Or
Yeah, sure. Well, by the way, if you're if you're on the call, hopefully you've got access to the meeting minutes. Drop your name in, and now I'm just realizing that that's not what Shruti meant. But drop your name in, and when you do, be sure to drop your last name too. Else, somebody might make up your last name for you, and so that will be the price that you pay. Good deal. So who all do we have on? Yeah, very good. Let's get the link shared to the meeting minutes. So again, and good deal. I suspect we'll have a couple of other folks joining, but actually, Shruti, if you don't mind taking us through some of the regular rigmarole, if you would. We've got maybe a newcomer today as well.
sure. All right. Welcome everybody to the community call. We take a day every week to figure out what we've been doing all week, to call out everybody working on projects and make a few jokes at their expense. We also make a couple of important announcements that everybody should know about and discuss project details, issues to work on, and just get everything going. So as a tradition, we introduce newcomers on this call. So if you are attending this particular call for the first time, you have a first-hand opportunity to speak up and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself. That can include your favorite color. Abhishek's is purple, if anybody wants to know. Or what you work with, or what you've been working with, or what projects you are interested in. Could range from anything, really. Is there anybody new in the call?
Yep, that's me.
All right, your chance. Go ahead.
So, hello everyone. This is Yash Pandey. I am a sophomore computer science student at Indian Institute of Information Technology, Ranchi, India. And I love to make websites, and I've recently been making a game engine, which is sort of odd because I'm here. And I also love making websites, and I want to, learn more about open source. That's it.
That's a great intro. I think mine was my name. That's right. Perfect. Welcome, Yash. Is there anybody else? Raj, I don't think you've joined us for a meeting before. Have you?
Actually, I did. I think Lee didn't forget me. Still remember, I guess. I joined earlier, like few months or 1 year before.
Oh.
Yeah,
Oh, Raj. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, sorry.
it's
I'm so
me.
focused. I'm so focused on trying to poke, I don't know, be kind and poke fun at Yash Pandey that I wasn't paying attention to Raj being here. So yeah, just Raj, I'll do it for you if you don't mind. Raj has been in and out of the community for some time. Has been interested in the projects that we're doing and some of the ones that we haven't done yet. So very early on, I mean, most of you are familiar that hey, we Meshri is probably our biggest, not probably, it's our biggest project. There are other projects though. And one of those that we had an intention for, a mind for, and it's still roadmap for us collectively is, well, it was called Mesh Monkey earlier on, and I suppose it still is. It's more or less the thought that service meshes are powerful and we can use them to do chaos engineering. And so, as it so happens, chaos engineering was Raj was an early community member to signal interest in that area, and rightfully so, because he's been working with a chaos engine, Litmus Chaos. And he and others have presented Litmus Chaos in the, I mean, he and others have been, just engaged for some time. We've kind of considered how an integration between Meshri and Litmus Chaos would work, and the two and their purpose are well aligned. It's just great. Raj went off, and Raj, I'm going to tell your whole story if I can. We went off and did, I think, a Google Summer of Code, ended up, I think.
Yes, GSOP for Prometheus.
Oh, nice. Are you still over in the Maya Data Litmus Chaos?
Right now I'm working on some internal projects for my data. So I've been not contributing regularly to Litmus Chaos these days. Still maintaining some stuff.
But okay, very good. But and then refresh my memory. Did you end up graduating and then moving into a role with Maya Data?
I passed out last year, and I joined Maya Data as a full-time employee.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. And then good. And then you've got a topic for us a little bit later. We'll talk about Helm charts, I think.
Yeah, I was looking from Helm perspective. So that if I can start first, or if you have any other agenda, you can talk first.
Okay, I think we've got a couple other items, but yeah, no, good.
Okay.
Or
Should
rather,
I?
thanks for saying that. I'll hold that thought for one moment. There's,
Yeah, sure, no problem.
It's good to have you, though. There is, there's might be one other individual that I'm not sure if you've been on the call before, but Samite again. Welcome.
Oh, this is my first time of joining the community.
Nice. Well,
good
thanks for
afternoon,
coming.
good evening.
Good afternoon. Good morning. Yeah, thanks for coming. Do you want to introduce yourself real quick? Just say a few words.
Yeah, I'm new to front-end development, so I want to contribute to many open source. So that's when I come across this community, but I've not been able to contribute to any of the projects. So joining today, I'm observing of where and how can I join, or I cannot contribute to any of the community. So thank you.
Nice. Oh, that's great. By the way, just to be, so that's fantastic. Thanks for introducing. It's nice to meet you. Just as a general note for everyone, if it hasn't been clear in the past, to be counted as a member of the community doesn't mean that you have to contribute code or that you have to necessarily even advance the projects. Like actually just coming and hanging out is enough. It's nice to talk to people and exchange ideas and talk about some of this tech. So just to be clear, in case that wasn't clear before. But if you want to contribute something, oh, there's all kinds of things to do. So please do. Nice. All right. Well, I think we hit all the first timers.
We did. All right. So we have a special announcement today for a particular person who I really, really hope is on this call. And here's Lee. Would you like to make it?
Yeah. Hey, look. Well, there's kind of two of them that are happening today, and one of them is they are both really just acknowledgments of two individuals who've been performing a function, and so we're not really doing anything other than just recognizing the fact that they've been performing that function. One of those is well, Meshmate Patel, or Mr. Josh Patel. I remember one of the first conversations that Josh and I had, and I really appreciated the conversation because it wasn't the easiest one for anyone to have necessarily. He and I were talking about front-end oriented things. We're talking about website stuff. By the way, Mr. Pandey, there are about 6 websites or so floating around here. There's a new one in development right now. So you're passionate for websites, you're in a good place. I think Josh, if I can say this, I think he shares a similar passion for, well, a few different things, but one of those being websites. He's been working on the next generation version of the Layer5.io for a while. And in that process, he's brought in a few other new members. And as he's taken the time to shepherd them and make sure that they've been warmly received in the community, that they've understood what we're working on. He's supported them. And it's not just the people that he's brought in. He's been quick to volunteer to do that for anyone who's asked for assistance. And that's what being a meshmate is. So today we've recently asked Josh to join the program formally, and I'm thankful that he's agreed. We get a lot of people coming through the community, and the thing is like there's I feel like I'm sitting in an airplane right now with this next statement. It's sort of like there's a lot of communities to choose from. Thank you for flying Layer 5 community. Or like, there's a lot of communities to choose from. One of the things that I don't think all of the communities get right, and hopefully we do at least 99% of the time, and that's to recognize that like it's about the people more than it is the projects. The project and the tech, don't get me wrong, I love to nerd out on them all day long. But if it weren't for everyone here that's showing up, and the projects wouldn't be there. I wouldn't be here. I'd be doing something I probably like to do less. And so for all of you, I'm thankful. And for people like Josh, I'm thankful because if he wasn't here helping others, then people, new people wouldn't come and existing people wouldn't stay. So congrats, Josh. Thanks for taking on the role. As an indentured servant, you'll be asked to do only more. So I joke just because meshmates, they get pulled in a lot of ways. So thanks for stepping up, Josh.
Thank you, Lee. Yeah, that's all.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. One of the things that Josh, by the way, does very well is, if you haven't noticed, well, I don't know that it's the gift of gab that I have, but it's not shutting up. Josh helps me with that. So I'm appreciative in that regard as well. There's another announcement that I wanted to make today, and I'll go ahead and share. It's actually also with respect to meshmates. Some of the meshmates have been here for a while. Clearly they haven't had their fill just yet. One of those is this guy. You all know him if you've been here for more than a week.
Woo!
Yeah. Yeah,
myself laughing out constantly.
Yeah. I think it's better for me to to write up this announcement. Because I get a little emotional over it. So but Nikhil, thanks.
It's actually I should thank you, thank the community, thank you and other people who are there in the community. Because of them, I was able to stay here for so long and keep contributing without thinking about moving away or leaving the community. It's just the environment or the thrill that I get where by contributing or guiding others or helping out others to contribute, which makes me stay here for long and long and long. That's the reason I have seen like it's almost 1.5 years since I have been here. But to be honest, I haven't thought even once about moving away from the community or leaving any role as such. But there were many who joined with me, but they eventually dropped off or were busy with some other work. But I try to no, yeah. In middle, I got a bit away, but was having less contributions. But yeah, not with code, but with other aspects. And might be that's the reason I'm getting this today. Uh, there was a small competition or a funny one with Nupur as well. Though she's not here with us. Otherwise, I would have teased her as well. But yeah, it was an exciting journey, and it will be. Right also.
Good. Good. Nikhil, you said a few things I was going to try to say. I didn't realize it was going to be that hard for me to say those things. Yeah, it's still a little bit hard. Oh, yeah. Yeah, thank you, Nikhil. It's yeah, we should move on.
Before we do, we actually have a little thing planned for Nicole, which we'll probably be doing in this week, which will hopefully make this a little bit more memorable for you.
Okay. Okay.
I realize I'm being very mysterious, but I'm doing that intentionally.
Okay.
A big thank you
It's
to you, Nicole. You've been a really, really good person in the community. You've been a really, really good inspiration. And I think I speak from everybody's perspective.
okay, miss. You guys are trying to make me as much emotional as possible, like even if I'm trying to be lesser and lesser, but you guys are making me forcefully do it.
Well, I'm going to try my best. That's for sure.
You're welcome. Everyone is welcome. Thank you for this. Thank you for everything.
All right, I'll take over. So we have ISTICON coming up next month, which is from February 22nd to 25th. There's a link to this website, and I believe you can go sign up for a couple of workshops, for a couple of sessions, and they have everything going on. A good place to get started, a good place to go learn some things. Post that, another big announcement. So Layer5 currently has a site which runs in Jekyll, but for the past 3 months or so, we have been working to migrate it to another platform. to Gatsby, which is a React framework, and a couple of or a large number of community members have been continuously working on it, and it finally goes live this month. I'll call out a couple of people who have been working on it very intensively, with a lot of effort put in, with a lot of time put in over the weekends, throughout the week, throughout their day jobs, and basically everything else. Nikhil, Josh, I don't know if Tanuj is on this call, but if he is, then great. All right, he is. Perfect. And a couple of others. It finally goes live this month. If you want to help us get ready, there still are a couple of issues that you can go help out with. If you want to contribute code, if you're not, you do not have the time or you don't want to contribute code at this particular moment, you can also help us out by going through the site and, well, telling us how pretty it looks. I'm just kidding. Go through the site and tell us if you can spot any bugs or if you can spot any sections that could be improved. We obviously understand that the site can be improved at this particular point, but any kind of feedback is very, very welcome. You're also very welcome to either tell us about it on Slack or go spot issues and then directly go create issues on GitHub for it. And we make sure that those are sorted out. All right, I think that's it for the announcements. If nobody has anything else exciting to tell us, let's move on to the agenda. All right, Raj, would you be willing to start us off?
Yeah, thanks. Thanks everyone. I was going through the Helm chart installation. I was looking like we have to clone the repo. I guess we have 4,000 plus commits, and it will take too much time to clone that repo, the new code inside the repo, and install the Helm chart. So I suggested like GitHub pages are one of the ways we can do for the Helm chart installation. And other than that, I was confused with this artifact hub with operator hub. In operator hub, what we do is like we have to raise some PR to upgrade our charts and everything. Like it will get some delay, so that's why I was suggesting for the GitHub pages. Like it's a community decision, so it's just a suggestion from my side.
Um, does anybody have any opinion on that? Abhishek?
Not right away. I'll need to discuss with him and then
All
provide it.
right. Raj, could you explain or give a little bit more context on it so that people can get that?
Yeah, so the context is like we have, I think, some charts in the chart directory, right? So we can build an action which will build those chart and create a like accessible link in a different branch called GS pages. We can call it as GS pages. So we can deploy this branch with GitHub pages so that we can directly go to like installing Helm repo from the GitHub pages, and then you can go to this issue.
Uh, so maybe I'll have one question here, Raj, for you.
Yeah,
Is it possible to club different helm charts from different other repositories into one?
yeah, it is possible. Just you have to write the logic of that. Like we have to bundle those
Okay.
Helm chart, and like you have to mention the path where you'll pick the Helm charts.
Okay. So other repositories are also possible.
Yeah.
Sorry. Cool. Okay.
All right. Lee, any opinion on that?
Yeah, hey, yeah, sorry. Yeah, this is a great suggestion. It's been one that I'm surprised we haven't gotten to earlier. And it's just an acknowledgement that Helm charts are an artifact of builds or should be an artifact of builds, just like other artifacts. Just like a new homebrew package is produced, or a new scoop package for Meshry CTL, Helm is a way of installing Meshry, and so the Helm chart should be published alongside in the same process. So I'm really glad that we're getting to this finally. It's actually been, I think, totally unrelated to Raj bringing it back up. Some other users were stumbling into usability issues with the chart, and so it's a very timely item. Yep. So it's a little bit
how are you upgrading the Helm charts in Artifact Hub? I just want to know.
manually, which is like, like they've just been ignored. I mean, that process has been ignored. So there is no process other than just manually handcrafting and updating and revving the version number.
Okay, you are not raising PR to the Artifact Hub repo, right? Or something like just to upgrade.
I don't believe so. Because I could be so one of the other contributors here, sort of the Helm chart maintainer, if you will, is Asuko Lee, and so in Slack he goes by Asuko.
Yeah, I see.
And he's been. I guess I originally put it up there in Artifact Hub. I'm unsure. If I were to guess, I would say I'm 75% sure that Artifact Hub has a link to where we publish the chart, and it's
Okay.
and since you publish the chart and there's a manifest that like
Mhm.
it can read that manifest over HTTP, and like I think it just sort of reads the manifest every so often, and I don't know that we have to curate that on Artifact Hub.
Okay, I didn't know about this Artifact Hub. I saw the Helm installation from that website, mashiri.io. Like there, it is like first you have to clone, then install from that directory. It was a long process to install those.
Yeah, kind of silly. It's sort of like, right, exactly. I mean, we should eliminate those instructions. There's no need to clone the repo. I mean, that's off-putting for many who would rather not, who'd rather just, you don't need to clone a repo to use a Helm chart. If you want to, you don't even need to clone a repo to use a Kubernetes manifest. You can just use a, HTTP, use a URL to it.
URL, yeah.
So to clarify here and provide a little bit of context, especially Raj, as you go to potentially, hopefully maybe solve this issue, is there are a couple of considerations to take into account. One is just the current state of things, which is there are the source code for the Helm charts, or the Helm chart, I should say, is in the main Meshry repo under /install.
Yeah.
Something Helm.
Yeah,
something.
I got that part. Yeah.
And you're great, perfect. Yeah, exactly. And that's we're not, the location that we publish the charts to, the chart to is, well, it's the meshry.io repo under install Helm or something. So we use this to serve the small, we use that GitHub Pages instance to serve the small HTTP file, the manifest for the chart. And that can change. It's a little bit, it's like, hey, why are you doing that? If you've got the source here, why don't you just building it and publishing it there? Originally, it was because the GitHub Pages there's a different GitHub Pages instance running in the main Meshry repo, and it's for docs.meshry.io. But it didn't use it previously. It was so there was some good logic as to why there was a segregation, why we chose to publish the chart over there and leave docs here. I don't know that that's much of a consideration anymore, that really needs to happen, that we couldn't just have the source and the published chart in the same repo. Or it's fine if they get left how they are. There are GitHub actions. I'm telling Raj, telling you some things that but just sort of bringing us all up to speed. There are some, there's a pre-written GitHub action, I think, from the Helm project itself that helps you with, like, packaging your chart and then
Publish it.
Yeah, publishing it to the same repo or a different repo. So again, if we consolidate or not, it probably doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Now, Avishek brought up a good question, and it was actually one that was brought up in GitHub discussions a little while ago, if I can navigate to the Meshery repo, we, little underused, but but occasionally used is the discussion section here. And one of those was for this topic of creating a release pipeline, and Asuko had brought it up. And I don't know if he had asked or someone had asked somewhere that, hey, and maybe this is what he had asked was, I don't know, the question of, well, hey, should we centralize all of should we have central source for, I'm trying not to use the word charts, the plural, because I don't know if that's correct. But should each adapter have its own definition of its section of the chart? And then because they rev individually, they're their own components that have their own life cycle and they get released independently. And so as you release an adapter and version that adapter, shouldn't then the Helm chart also be updated? It's like, yeah, probably it should.
Yeah. I think if the process is already there, then we just have to you can change it in the website for installation.
Oh, okay. Yeah. We turned this into something much, much bigger than what you were intending. But yeah, so there's probably three things. You're right. Hey, immediately, I think we can go update the instructions on a couple of the websites and we'll be in an improved position.
Mm-hmm.
Second to that, we can take the fact that we have the source for the charts in the Meshery repo now and add that to our build and release process to just build the chart and publish it to its current location. And then assuming that Artifact Hub auto updates, we're good. That's another good step. The third step would be, oh, hey, maybe we should go ahead and take the individual sections of this overarching chart and place those into other repos. So those, the second and third steps, I'm glad that Rodolfo is on, because we've spun back up the continuous integration working group.
Yeah.
So this is a good, we've got agenda for next week.
Okay, great.
Now,
Okay,
Raj,
yeah.
you're more than welcome to take it on.
Yeah, thanks.
Cool. Thank you. That's great.
Okay, Dhruv, you're next.
Yeah, sure. So let me just share my screen if I can. So it is still work in progress, but the current PR which was involved regarding the update in the SMP Produce, right? So this was merged right now. The changes which are particularly made were, first of all, few changes. The service message is now redefined to service mesh, and we also added few more things to the definition of a mesh, like the version of that particular mesh and labels and annotations that are present. So now, since we have included this, we would be able to use the service mesh definition in the SMP protos in the SMI conformance system. So it would be linked to the SMP protos. So that's one thing I've been working on. And to add to this effort, we would also change the way we are defining our mesh in the adopters most probably. So I haven't spun up a PR yet, but if you want, I can show you what we are doing. So basically, instead of in a nutshell, basically instead of sending a string telling which particular mesh we are running, we would use the SMP protos to define that particular type and use it everywhere as a global standard. So yeah, that's what's been going on in the SMP proto front. And yeah, so that's all over here. In the SMI side, we are working on a updated version of the proto, which I don't have a currently working PR now. So they will probably talk about it most likely Wednesday's call or Tuesday's call. So yeah, any questions?
Just a quick comment, and not necessarily something we have to figure out here or not, but as we go to, so the slash service protos for the info, health, and air.
Yeah. So they are basically this protos would define any, like we have standardized the way we would get let's say error or whether the services are running or not over here. So if you want to take a look at it, for some reason my internet is okay. Great. So let me just, if you want, I can take you through some of this code. So like we are defining error in a standard way, so we could use it everywhere which uh, we are sharing a error or not, right? Similarly, if a process is running, we can define whether it is running or it is ideal or not. And if we go to info, yeah, basic info. So this is just a abstract version to define any service which we have, right? So that's what is being done over here.
Nice. Okay, cool. Yeah, the question that I'll ask that we can probably put a pin in, but just leave it out there as food for thought is this spec the most appropriate place for that definition?
Oh, actually, that we can discuss upon on, like before this, it was present in the mesh kit repo as we know, but since we wanted to buff up the SMP spec too, so we thought this might be the place for it.
Cool. Good. I'm neither condoning nor rejecting. Just a question to, yeah. Cool.
Yes. Michael here. I wondered a little bit about the same thing. Whether the SMP
keep it in. So whether we should keep it in SMP or move it to Meshkit, that's what you're saying.
Yes.
Well.
Yeah, I don't know. Since I brought it up and am causing Dhruv some pain, I'll say this. I was talking to Abhishek and Dhruv about kind of getting us on the other side of SMI conformance, and part of that is tracking, where the tests are and their status. And we were kind of talking about where to land, the fact that we needed some protos to describe that and where to land those. My general guidance was like, hey, if we're going to be defining spec and kind of protos and making updates, like, we want to continue to make SMP a real boy, to borrow from Pinocchio. And so part of this is my fault for like suggesting.
To add to Lee's point. Hello.
Yes. Yes, you are, Abhishek.
Okay. So basically, there are two main reasons why we added this on SMP. One is how Drew explained it's basically to improve the importance of SMP as a project, and the second thing is to avoid meshkit dependency on learn layer repo, because we are using Cuttle in Layer5, which uses a very deprecated version of Flango, which is different from our meshkit's Flango version, which makes a lot of dependency. So, in order to avoid that dependency conflict, we try to move it to SMP.
Okay. Your line was a bit bad, or maybe my line was maybe breaking up a bit. But does this mean that these protos or similar protos will be redefined in Meshkit? Or what does this mean? We'd be importing the service mesh performance library into adapters, for instance.
Most probably we would be importing the service mesh performance library to the adapters if you want to use this.
Is that the right way to go? Why do service mesh adapters have to know anything about service mesh performance? Why not the other way around, for instance?
Well,
What's sort of like the functional hierarchy? Who should know about what? Do adapters have anything they need to know about performance?
Am I audible right now?
Yeah, much better.
So to answer that question, basically, in an ideal case, we should have had this in a separate repo, uh, where basically it should be independent of SMP, but we don't have one right now, and the only two options that we have is on either instituted on Meshkit or SMP, and we chose SMP because of the dependency conflict that happened when using Meshkit. But yeah, I agree to the fact that in an ideal scenario, it should be uh, independent of the service mesh performance traits.
so should we create a different repo itself for this kind of protos, or
Uh, Not at the initial stage, I would say, because we don't have anything fruitful at the moment. Probably if we scale up with a lot of other protos, then we can think of moving it on.
Well, one aspect is also another possibility would have been to have to just duplicate it instead of importing the service mesh performance library into, say, service mesh adapters. Because one thing is also then untangle it if you want to sort of like remove dependencies afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
But I understand this dependency conflict issue. So
Yeah, the original idea was to have it in Meshkit itself, but yeah, because of this issue, the next best thing was SMP.
yeah.
and like to add to your point, I guess if we go that route, even protos like where we are defining a general mesh itself, like this one, this also shouldn't exist in SMP itself. If we are planning on creating one different repo for all the protos defining basic general stuff, right?
Yeah, like a couple of free work needs to be done on both sides.
But the downside would be the SMP proto won't be as buffed up.
Yeah.
Invalid mesh. That's good. So if we were to extend the, say, service mesh adapter gRPC service to return version info and other info about service mesh. Wasn't it that discussion we had earlier as well? But it was about the returning information about the version of the adapter and not only of the mesh. So then we would have a dependency there. There's another places it's sort of more it's more a dependency that you actually copy the proto file and then create the what's it called
Go
proto
files,
C.
the PV
Yeah.
go files.
Yeah, from there, and not have a actual hard dependency on the other repository. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. I see the point. So
Yeah,
dependency conflicts are a pain.
Yeah, they are pain. They have been pain for 2 days, for me at
Yeah.
least.
Yeah, they are.
Okay. So that's all from my side, I guess.
Okay. Rodolfo, would you like to give us an update?
Yeah. Hey everyone. Only to give the news that we get back the Measure CI meeting. We are doing that meeting every other Thursday. The next one is this next Thursday of the next week. So there we are working on all the build and release process of Measure. So we have a different focus to follow the build and release strategy and also follow the Helm charts build that Lee said. So yeah, we have a lot of work there. So if you want to join us in that meeting, it will be every other Thursday. Raj, did you get the date and time of that meeting? Because I know you're gonna. Yeah, the time is 12 p.m. at Central Time. So
Yeah, I have
yeah,
the
we
calendar
will be there.
invite. Thanks, Lee. I have the calendar invite.
Nice, cool. Yeah, I'm mostly entirely razzing Raj, so it'd be good. Yeah, perfect. Everybody's welcome to come. But Rudolph was tracking a lot of. There's surprisingly a lot to do with continuous integration. And actually, it's kind of dumbfounding that we're this far along in the project and we're not auto publishing a Helm chart. Like it's bad. So. Yeah, we are working on that, and you all are welcome there. Shruti?
All right. Yes. Naveen, to you next.
Yeah, hi everyone. So let's just share my screen. Yeah, so before the demo, I will just explain the issue. It is related to Measure CTL, in particular the system reset command. So the system reset command has to be made context aware. So what context basically means is we can have multiple configurations for Measure, and in this case we can see the local and the production configuration. So while running reset command, what it used to do was to pick up the latest Docker YAML file, and what we needed to do was to consider the channel and the version of that particular context, the current context which has been selected. So that was the issue, and yeah, we fix it using we pick up the current context and we check its channel, and we just fetch the Docker Compose file that is corresponding to the version of the current context. So I'll just demo it. Yeah, as you can see in my config.yaml file, I have a single context which is local, and it's subscribed to the stable channel, and its version is v0.4.20. So it's not the latest version. So if I were to run this before we fix the issue, it will just pick up the latest Docker Compose file. But if I run it now, yeah, I just run system reset. So it will pick up the Docker Compose file that is based on version 0.4.20, which is actually the release tag in GitHub. So that is one issue that we fixed recently. And another one that we had with the reset command was it automatically resets. Like there is no confirmation, or if a user didn't mean to actually reset it, or if he doesn't really know what is happening, we need to have a confirmation where we should ask the user, are you sure you want to reset this, reset the config file, reset the measure.yaml file. So that's another issue. And it's still a draft PR. I am still working on it, but yeah, you can see it in action here. So are you sure you want to continue? And if I press Y, then it will reset. And if I press N, it will show an about and reset message, which needs to be changed, in my opinion. Maybe change it to something different. So that's what we have. And this is a draft PR. I'm currently working on it. I probably need to change the what is being logged out here. So that's it. Yeah, this is a good document. If you don't know what contexts are, I think it's explained pretty well in here. So yeah, that's it.
Is anybody else here looking to work on Mesh-free CTL? It's a Golang-based CLI. It uses Cobra as its framework. It uses Viper a little bit as well. There's a bunch of stuff to do in there. That's why I asked. So for those
yeah,
that are
I
new,
am interested on participate.
any other hands going up there? Cool. Anyway, it's a good place if you're, well, if you're really good with Go, or if you're new to Go. It's a good area to dig into. Okay, nice, good. Yeah, thanks for raising your hand, Roberto. Any other feedback for Navendu? Just way to tear through it, Navendu. So.
I think it's very nice. It's very good to get the confirmation and have first reset in place. I wonder whether it could be useful to just take a backup of the configuration that is replaced. Meaning, just make a copy, a local copy.
Okay.
Yeah, let's think about that for a minute. Like, hey, why wouldn't we? We're like it takes up almost no disk space. It could prevent someone from getting really upset about losing their customizations. It's one more thing for us to potentially sort of manage, but if we don't put a lot of guarantees around it, if we just every time that they reset their config, we just push to it. The file name is config.yaml, so we just maybe push to like config.yaml.bak, and we just keep one copy. And we're just like, you can go one back in history or something. If we keep it fairly simple, it doesn't cost that much in terms of our time to provide the feature.
Yes, that's something that's along the lines I thought. On the other hand, we're asking for an explicit. You said, why wouldn't we? We're asking for an explicit confirmation. Are you really sure? But still, sometimes one presses yes a bit too quickly. I do. So it could be practical, but I wouldn't sort of make a big, just one backup copy, one version back, nothing fancy.
See, the nice thing is that, like, with that, for my part, with that type of a suggestion, and please, everyone that's on the call, like, you all use software that does this kind of a thing, so you all have a valid opinion here. Like, from my perspective, if an auto backup was saved each time, well, you might almost be able to just forego the question, maybe, because you just say, great, your command has been executed and it's been reset, by the way. If you want, here's your backup. If you want to, if you didn't intend for that to happen, but yeah.
Sorry, I was unmuting myself. I'm muting myself because maybe you would like to have a silent option.
Yeah, exactly.
Because maybe you would like to run this in a CI/CD pipeline or CI pipeline. Then you might like to have a silent option, and then you would still have possibility to have backup just in case. I'm just improvising. I don't know whether that's a...
Yeah, actually, Michu, that's a good point. That, like, hey, I would say from my perspective, irrespective of whether or not a backup is taken, which I think is generally a good idea. Like, it's not harmful. It doesn't, irrespective of that, we probably should ensure as a principle that anytime that there's an interactive prompt, there is also a -- skip flag, or there's some mechanism by which those that are scripting the CLI can. Now, granted, if they're scripting the CLI, yes, they could also script and answering yes, but it might be just more convenient, and we'd be able to address it sort of more holistically if there's maybe it's a global flag, or it's a command specific flag that's, it wouldn't be necessarily -- skip, it would be -- skip or silent, or it would be -- silent or something like that. Yeah. I'll take a note, and we'll create an issue for consideration, see if people give it some more thought.
All right. I took a note of it in the meeting minutes as well. Hopefully that should help. All right, we're almost at time here. We were supposed to do a walkthrough of the Layer5 NG site, but we can do it next week. That would probably be better because we'll have a couple of other things sorted by then, hopefully. Apart from that, I think that's it.
Very nice to see some newcomers on the call today. Just a bunch of, if you're looking to contribute and you don't have something, just raise your hand in Slack. There's a bunch of things. Yeah. I didn't realize how choked up I was going to get about reflecting on all the work and how much it means to me that Nikhil has done what he has. So I apologize for sort of botching that announcement up, but yeah, so just really proud of Nikhil. So, all right, I'll be here next week. Hopefully Shriti and everybody else will be as well. So.
Okay, that's it, guys. Thank you for coming on. Same time next week.
Bye. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Have a good weekend.
Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Everyone.